toxic waste incinerators on nearby land. It had the riots in the nearby housing estates. It even had tanks blown up by the IRA on adjacent land. All the things that would make any rational person run a mile. What we did was we decided to go for something really wacky, something that people would never relate in any sense to those past activities. We went for the Wet and Wild Waterpark.
We got you wet, we made you wild. Now we've opened a new 80-foot kamikaze ride at Wet and Wild.
When you think water park, you picture Florida, maybe Tenerife, perhaps even the Midlands if you're being generous. But North Shields, a water park in the cold, windswept shadow of the Tyne Tunnel, that's bold. This is the story of Wet and Wild, the UK's biggest indoor water park when it opened in 1993. A story of ambition, nostalgia, and a few technical faults. We'll also uncover one of the most abiding mysteries of the Northeast. Was there really nails in the kamikaze slide? So grab your donut ring and let's dive in. Wet and Wild opened on July 19th, 1993 by Gladiators Jet and Wolf, proudly billed as Europe's largest and most exciting indoor water fun park. It promised a tropical environment, kept at a steady 29 degrees Celsius, so you could queue for a flume in your swimwear without turning blue. But why did they decide on a site near Meadowell? Only 2 years previously, Meadowell had been the site of riots which made international news and was, at the time, one of the most deprived areas in the UK. Crime in the early 1990s was rife in the area, and the place had effectively become a no-go zone for police. So to open a national tourist attraction half a mile away was a gamble. Or was it? The site, after all, was only a short distance from the Royal Quays ferry terminal and a couple of metro lines, and if anywhere was in need of investment and jobs, it was here. The £8 million project was built by Laying Northern for Tyneside Waterpark Limited. According to Companies House, Tyneside Waterpark started in 1991, 2 years before the park was opened. The site was being built as part of the Tyne and Wear Development Corporation's regeneration project of the North Tyne Riverside. The slides were the job of Aussie water ride designer Alan Matthews, who imported Gold Coast flume technology to Tyneside. The architects were Killingworth-based Faulkner Brown, and when finished, there was to be 660 square feet of water space in a complex covering over 55,000 square feet. Set inside a hulking structure at Royal Quays, it was a mecca of chlorinated chaos, featuring flume rides and a huge wave pool. It was like nothing the north of England had seen before. When it opened in July 1993, it had over 700 metres of flume rides. The rides included the Tornado, which opened in July 1993, was 2 intertwining tubes which could be rode with a friend as a race. The Kamikaze, which didn't open until 1995, an 80-foot near vertical drop reaching very high speeds. Incidentally, the maximum weight for this ride was 21 stone. The Abyss, a double-tyre plunge into darkness which opened in June 2001. This was a very dark, fast ride where 2 riders in a double inflatable would accelerate down a series of steep drops. There was also the Cyclone and the Hurricane, which were medium-speed rides with twists and turns. They opened when the park opened in July 1993. The Black Hole, which was my favourite ride, opened in 1997, Britain's biggest indoor slide at the time at 165 metres. This was a black twist and tunnel filled with magical, astronomical themed lighting. You'd use a double tyre to ride down this. The Tempest ride was originally known as Pinball and was one of the slower speed rides, opened in July 1993. Pinball gave a score at the end of the ride, depending on how many special touchpads were activated during the slide down. There was Tsunami. The Tsunami wave was created by 500 litres of foaming water. Separate in-ride controls allowed riders to select the Tsunami wave feature or enjoy the ride as the standard Mistral flume, which opened in July 1993. Then there was Calamity Canyon, which included a number of small slides and whirlpools, which opened in July 1993. Then there was the lazy river, originally with donuts but then got rid of, and adults just had to walk round while being pushed by the current. Discovery Play Island featured 5 slides and was for children aged 10 years and under. There was also a cancelled secret ride. In 2012, a Spaceball slide was ordered. However, the construction never happened. Project Spaceball was allegedly planned, but the park never went through with the construction. For a while at Wet n Wild it worked. Kids' birthdays, stag do's, even Guinness World Record attempts. In 2001, Wet n Wild hosted the world's first official fastest flume ride record. North Shields momentarily was on top of the world. The Northeast had it all. A new blink and eye Millennium Bridge, a new art gallery, and we still had our beloved Metroland at this point too. We really were riding high in the late 90s. But running a tropical paradise in the northeast of England costs money, a lot of it. There were over 1,500 gallons of water a minute streaming through the flumes, and the whole complex was being heated to a balmy 29 degrees Celsius, regardless of how busy it was. Heating, water, lifeguards, repairs, chemicals, insurance, it all cost money, and by the 2000s visitor numbers were dropping fast. The company had been working with North Tyneside Council to pay off tens of thousands of pounds worth of business rates and other liabilities. In 2013, Wet n Wild went into administration. Nearly 70 jobs were at risk. Despite being profitable for much of the year, the winter months sank it. But like a phoenix from the ashes, Wet n Wild reopened in 2014. Serco Leisure and Moria Capital Investments splashed out $1.1 million on a refurbishment. However, the constant 29 degrees Celsius temperature was dropped as part of the new economisation. Riders now got to enjoy queuing for rides in the tropical temperature of Tyneside.
Oh, showers is hot enough, but time we get back here, you've lost all the benefits.
There was a new cafe, a soft play area, family changing rooms, lower admission prices. The Beach Hut Cafe replaced Crusoe's Galley, and once again the slides flowed. Visitors flocked back, and things were looking good at first. An air conditioning fault shut it down days after reopening, and there were reports of customers falling ill. There were also some blunders. Customers reported finding spy holes in changing cubicles, and in 2014, a visitor discovering unwanted organic matter at the foot of a slide. It wasn't exactly the kind of fun day out visitors expected. Reports of it being dirty and dangerous proliferated. Whether there was any truth to it or not, most likely not, almost every school kid in the northeast at the time had heard reports of nails and knives being stuck in the slides from the outside. I've found absolutely no contemporary newspaper reports to back this up, so as expected, it was just schoolyard rubbish, perhaps spread by a local leisure rival. Despite repeated attempts to revive it, Wet n Wild just couldn't stay afloat. In 2019, it announced it would be closing over the winter and would remain shut until February 2019, then extending that to Easter. Perhaps an indication of the trouble to come. Visitors had long voiced complaints about the park's deteriorating condition, pointing to issues such as broken floor tiles, unclean changing areas, and numerous lockers without doors. Serco tried to modernise, but maintenance costs, vandalism, and a slowly crumbling structure made it a losing battle. By 2020, the park shut down for good. The slides silent, the water drained, and memories frozen in time. Of course, the pandemic hadn't helped either. In 2024, Serco sold the site to a developer, Bloom Developments Limited, the site's new owners. They submitted a request to North Tyneside Council seeking approval to tear down the former Wet n Wild Waterpark. The council granted permission. The proposal covered the demolition of the main structure previously known as Wet n Wild, along with its external slides. According to the application, the decision to remove the building stemmed from ongoing security and safety concerns, noting frequent break-ins and a rise in antisocial incidents. The the statement explained that demolition would pave the way for future development. Both the main complex and an additional outbuilding are set to be cleared. Earlier in the summer of 2024, local DJ Shaq and friends entered the abandoned site and streamed a spontaneous rave live on social media, describing it as a moment of making history. By late that year, demolition began. The once tropical temple of Geordie leisure reduced to rubble. Locals mourned the memories. School trips, first dates and birthday rides on the Black Hole, all gone. For 2 decades, Wet n Wild wasn't just a water park. It was part of growing up in the northeast. Even now, when I drive past the Royal Quays, I remember the echo of laughter, the faint smell of chlorine, and a shiver passes through my body, as if I was there again, queuing for the Black Hole. Wet n Wild might be gone, but it remains a symbol of the Northeast's genius for dreaming big. An indoor theme park, a floating nightclub, and the largest indoor shopping centre in Europe at the time. So next time someone tells you, build it and they will come, maybe remind them they did build it in North Shields. And yes, they did come, just not enough of them.